Good evening. Welcome to the November 8th, 2022 Clover Garden School Board of Directors meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Ms. Verakin, the role and mission of the board.
Rule of the board, we are entrusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission, Clover Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to read the agenda for this evening? There are questions, additions that we need to note at this time. Do I have an approval or a motion to approve the agenda for this evening? Ms. Russell, second. Mr. Huffines, all in favor? Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the October minutes for 2022? Any questions or changes, updates that we need to make to those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the October 2022 minutes? Mr. Russell, I'm sorry, I can't see him. Second, Ms. Foster, all in favor? Thank you. Ms. Verakin, do we have any stakeholders or public comment this evening?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. No special guests. Takes us to finances. Ms. Simmons.
Yes, ma'am. The October 2022 monthly budget, I asked that we table it. We are still reconciling at this time.
Okay. And then the 2021-2022 final audit, Ms. Simmons.
The Finance Committee has reviewed in detail our 21-22 final audit and audit results. And in your packet, you have our our letter to our board of directors. So if I could just go through a couple of highlights from that, and then the actual audit results, the 70 pages is out there on the drive as well. For like I said, the Finance Committee has reviewed that. But just for everyone's knowledge, there's a letter to the board of directors. They have audited our financial statements for year end June 30th, 2022. Some qualitative aspects of accounting practices. They noted no transactions entered into the government entity during the year for which there was a lack of guidance or consensus. All significant transactions have been recognized in the financial statement in the proper period. Let's see. The management estimates of the depreciation expense is based on the management's estimates of useful lives at June 30th, 2022. And they evaluate the key factors and assumptions. Certain financial statement disclosures are particularly sensitive. The most sensitive disclosures affecting the financial statements were the disclosures of property and equipment in note 3.2 of the financial statements, which is in the drive. The financial statements disclosure were neutral, consistent, and clear. They encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with the management and performing and completing their audit. If there were any corrected or uncorrected misstatements, management has corrected all such misstatements. And in addition, none of the misstatements detected as a result of audit procedures, and there were any, and there were none. So disagreements with management, they're pleased to report there were no such disagreements arose during the course of their audit. And then the other matters, all the information is appropriate and complete in relation to their audit of the financial statements. And then just the restriction of use, as a reminder, this information is intended solely for the use of the board of directors and the management of Clover Garden. So in the audit results, the big packet, you know toward the end, you always know or can see that there were several pages of no findings. So I'd like to report that and make sure everybody knows. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Simmons? Do I have a motion to vote on the 2021-2022 final audit and approve? Ms. Merrill, second. Ms. Lane, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, academics, Mrs. Spencer and Mr. Feldman.
Good evening. We had 8 students that were awarded conference honors for the fall athletic season. In volleyball, we had senior Reagan Allison and junior Gracie Jones. In cross country, we had junior Lucas Roney, freshman Clint Bristow, and junior Brielle Brown. And in soccer, we had seniors Dylan Wilson and Will Oldham, as well as freshman Ethan Saunders. Believe it or not, Will had quite the season and was named the unanimous conference offensive player of the year as well. So it's quite a recognition. In attendance and enrollment, the enrollment and numbers did not change much from last month. Enrollment is currently at 683 and the wait list at 554, which is up about, I think, 10 seats. The last thing in that area to make note of, and it's also in your board folder, is the timeline for the spring lotteries. The dates that begin, I believe, in January and continue through March. I'd like to take a minute to review those. We could answer any questions you might have. Of course, the most important date is March 6th at 2 o'clock when the lottery will be held for the 23-24 school year. And those students that do win the lottery and gain acceptance will have until March 11th to accept that seat. Okay. If there's not any other questions, I'll turn it over to Ms. Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman.
Good evening. Under our community activity and involvement, we're pretty short and sweet this month. Our band will be participating on November the 19th, which is a Saturday, in the Burlington Christmas Parade. So look forward to that upcoming. I'm sorry, I should get my mask down. Sorry. So our band will be performing there. And under our student life, again, it's all about the band. Our marching band has been doing a phenomenal job. On October 15th, they participated in the Festival of Bands at Fuquay Bernier High School, and there they won the prize for professionalism, courtesy, and teamwork. And we placed second for Class A1 for the color guard and percussion. So that's something to be excited about and celebrate. And then upcoming for October 29th, they participate in the Fall Festival at Northwest Guilford High School and placed an overall for our Class 1A. That was first place overall for the band there. And that sums up our student life and community activity thus far.
Great, thanks, Mrs. Sarkis. Great, Ms. Cox, testing calendar and data presentation.
Good evening. So in your packet that Ms. Simmons created for you, we'll start with your page that has the final school report card for 21-22. It says final, but this has not been approved by the state yet. The state did post our school report cards at the end of August for us to review what we had. Then the state takes these down. Then they do their internal audits. We were told that these would be back up at the beginning of November, but they have yet to be posted again back to the DPI website. Very happy and very proud to report that our school, it looks like, unless there's a major change that the state finds, will come up with a B for our school year with a 72.8. We were very happy with that. At the end of the school year last year, we were sitting borderline between that C and B. And then with our summer school program and retesting some of our students, and many of our students were able to show proficiency, that did up our school report card grade, which is gonna leave us sitting at a B. So we were very happy and very pleased with that. Your next page is gonna show you a comparison of the 2021 school year to the 21-22 school year. Overall, for 2021, there was no overall score that the state gave us based on that being a COVID year and the lack of many testing categories. However, if you look at the final column where it says change, you will note that we were positive in every single grade, every testing grade, every category. When we compared the 2021 school year to the 21-22 school year, we showed a lot of growth. If you look at that math number of +20, you know, we're super happy about that. And anyway, we did show growth in every one of those categories. So that was something to be very proud of, something we wanted our teachers to celebrate, and we shared this information with them. They've had a little bit of a rough go at school this year, and things have been a little stressful for them. So we just wanted to make sure that they got to see that, to say, I know you're tired, I know you're exhausted, but what you're doing is working. Because our kids are showing tremendous growth. When you look at the next page, which talks about the proficiency levels, this is comparing our check-in scores for our first set of check-ins that we have completed so far this year. We did our first round of check-ins back in October. And there are a lot of negatives on this page and a lot of red that you see. But I caution you that there are several variables that go into that. One of the additions that I handed you tonight when I came in was I handed you copies of the cut scores. And if you look at those cut scores, which is how we get our numbers based on whether a child shows not proficient, level 3, level 4, level 5, you can compare what the cut scores were in the 21-22 school year to how the state changed those in the 22-23 school year. Especially in the math category, the numbers grew quite a bit, and that made it very difficult for our students to achieve this right off the bat. So that's one of the reasons and the discrepancies that we have in those lower numbers when we compare check-in scores from fall of 21 to fall of 22. One of the other things that I caution you about is the fact that our students are taking a little bit different type of testing right now. Our 3rd and 6th graders are continuing to take the traditional check-ins, where our 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th graders are in a pilot program with the state, taking what they call check-ins 2.0, which is part of the NCPAT, the North Carolina Personalized Assessment Tool. So these tests look a little bit different. So as I did a comparison, comparing 21 when everybody was on traditional check-ins compared to 22, fall of 22, where a majority of our kids are taking a new test that we don't have any data on, that can skew those numbers a little bit. So just be aware of that. We are aware of where our teachers need some work. We have been having meetings with them, talking about their standards, talking about their pacing guides. And we have, as the academic committee, been working very hard to put some new things in place to help our teachers. In addition to the addition of the NC check-ins 2.0, they have also, as the state, released a lot of new features for our teachers, where our teachers are able to go in and look at these tests afterwards with their students and speak with their students about their test scores. The students can go back and review their tests as well. So we're trying to train and teach our teachers how they can go in and show these tests to their students and show them how the questions should have been worked out to achieve that, because we do use these as quite a practice tool for our students for their end of the year, end of grade testing, or North Carolina personalized assessment. Okay. The last thing that I added to your packet, Ms. Bracken wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of our upcoming testing. So I did include a testing schedule in your packet. We do have a couple more check-ins for our EOC courses that will take place this fall. English 2, Math 1, Math 3, and Biology, as well as in December, we'll have final exams for our middle school and high school semester-long courses. and midterms for our year-long courses, and then EOC finals for the EOC courses in our high school. Questions?
So, Ms. Cox, what are we doing about biology? How are we addressing?
So for biology, we have two different terms of biology that will take place here at school this year. We have students enrolled in the fall and then students that will be enrolled in the spring. For the fall, they currently are showing lower test score numbers than our students did last year at this time. However, because those students are enrolled in the North Carolina Virtual Public School System, the test scores will go against them and will not go against Clover Garden. If their test scores are low for the fall semester. By the time that we start a new batch of students taking biology for the spring semester, we do have a teacher in place that will be starting at the end of November, so they will have a face-to-face teacher. So we certainly expect those test scores to rise back again.
Do we know what was attributed to the growth in math scores?
So we kind of play ping pong with that just a little bit, to be quite honest with you. And when we notice that one subject is going down, we kind of dive into that subject wholeheartedly, which is what happened last year. We noticed that our math scores were dropping some. So we just really practiced and preached math all the way around. Ms. Ricker did a phenomenal job getting in there with those teachers and doing that. And that made our math scores go through the roof. At the same time, we did lose our reading specialist at the beginning of the school year last year. We didn't have her and we were focusing on math, and therefore our reading scores did take a hit last year. So now this year, it's more of our reading that we need to focus on, and we hope that in the process of doing that, that it does not cause our math scores to fall again. But we do kind of ping pong back and forth with those two particular subjects.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Great, thank you. Ms.
Thank you.
Okay, no old business, correct? New business or governance, sorry. Committee updates. So how about governance? Don't think any new open policies, correct? Okay. And then, finance, Ms. Lane, any
Yes, nothing.
items of note? Okay. Ms. Foster, academics?
Just what Ms. Cox just presented to us, and we're still waiting for that final report card to be issued.
Great, thank you. Mr. Huffines, long-range planning.
All right, so expansion project is still moving along pretty good. So we now have 6 months of construction under our belt. So we're about 35% complete for the project. That's through the end of October. So we think we're still on schedule. Of course, I'm sending out photos every week. I actually walk the site and check progress every Saturday morning. I don't know if everybody was aware of that. So anybody's welcome to walk with me on Saturday mornings, just to kind of look at the project and things like that. So it just kind of gives me a glance to see what items are going on with that. We met with Duke Energy this past Friday just to kind of get an idea of when they're going to actually start work. I think they're going to start work this month sometime on the aerial lines. So we got to convert a 1-phase to a 4-phase all the way from pretty much where Shaq's is, that intersection, all the way up to Stony Creek Church Road. So about 2.5 miles, we had to change that line out. So, and then we got a lot of burial line that goes along on the property in the ground for like lightings and things like that for the building. So we are currently working on the furniture. We have 4 vendors that have submitted price packages. So we are currently reviewing those as far as our furniture inside the new facility. So you can see some pictures here that I think we have 4 pictures, just different shots, perspectives, viewpoints of the property. These were taken end of October, I think October 31st, actually. So still doing some curb and gutter, doing some grading around the curb and gutter and building. We actually started that, you see an L shape, scroll to the left a little bit, breaking. There you go. It's that little L shaped knee wall. So it's actually going to be a front courtyard right there. So it's kind of a good hangout area. Everyone that can eat their wonderful peanut butter and jelly sandwich, at that courtyard. So that will have a brick veneer. It's just block right now. So as far as the building, like I said, we've made a lot of progress, as you can see. It started to take some shape a little bit more than the last time we discussed this. So we finished the decking on the second floor. So we're almost complete with the roof decking. You can see how some of that's already started. Obviously we started some CMU walls, that's the block walls. So we completed the elevator shaft. That's always the first thing that goes up during a type of facility like this. And we started actually some hangers for the HVAC system. So for the upcoming work, we're actually looking at pouring concrete on the second floor flooring next week, weather permitting. It's supposed to be a little chilly, a little bit of rain. So we'll just have to kind of play with the weather a little bit for that. And for stone and asphalt, we're still kind of playing with the weather with that as well. So we may have to start that, after the weather. So I mean, after the winter. So we'll just check on that. So the big milestones that we're looking at right now is trying to get this dried in, probably late January to get it all dried in for the building. So that way they can start doing all the inside stuff for the building. With that, has anybody got any questions? Still showing a nice little swimming pool in the back.
I was gonna say fireplace.
Fire pit, yeah.
It's in the
Yeah.
winter,
So we have another thing I did not mention. We have all three stairwells in. There's one on both sides, and then we have a central stairwell pretty close to where the elevator is. So moving on pretty good. We'll just see how the winter plays out. Hopefully we can get it dried in before it gets too cold. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Huffines. Appreciate it. Fundraising. Mr. Aiken, will we able to
I'm sorry.
were we able to do the action items from the fundraising discussion in October?
From last time, yes.
Yeah.
So we have touched base with Mr. Feldman, got information out there to our staff, and they started kind of a report of who all's doing fundraising, when and where and what time. So they've got that information kind of compiled, and then PTT has also been in correspondence with us about their fundraisers this year and kind of what they're trying to do. And so we've already kind of had that conversation too about overlap. We had a couple of overlapping things in December, and so they've been great about saying, okay, well, we won't do that in December. We'll do something else later on. So that's probably the gist of that, though, as far as that's gotten with the fundraiser committee. But this PTG is very involved, and they've already started different fundraiser activities. They just did a small one for Spooky Grams and made some money off of that. And so we'll definitely see some community involvement when it comes to some fundraising stuff. So I think we definitely have interest with the PTT, but that's kind of as far as we've gotten, just collecting the data on what we're doing this year and that way then the clubs and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so we're ready to move into the next step for us to meet again and then determine kind of a meeting cadence with the others. Okay, thank you. Any other committee updates? Comments? New business, fire inspection, Ms. Simmons.
And you have a copy of our fire inspection report, came out in October. And at this time, maintenance has addressed all the noted, not really violations, but all the noted comments. That's fine.
So all of these have been addressed and or fixed.
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's my part, though. That's my part.
Okay, questions about the fire inspection? All right, Ms. Simmons, Title I monitoring visit.
Yes, ma'am. So we received a notification from DTI that they were going to perform a monitoring review for our school on November the 3rd, an on-site in-person monitoring review. Ms. Reagan, Ms. Garrison, and myself worked on the required proof of evidences for the monitoring element guidelines. Got everything uploaded. And then during that monitoring visit, parents, teachers, and administration leadership were interviewed as well. And so we will report any findings, if any, in the January 2023.
But I did want to share that, the folks that were here, the auditors, they're still crafting the results and all of that information. But they did take a pretty lengthy tour. That was one of the first things they did with us, was take a tour around the building. And I just want to kudos to our kids and our staff. That was one of the things that at the end, we were getting ready to review, that they wanted to highlight was our community. And so I know that our community's been through a lot, and there's been a lot of change, and there's been a lot of, some frustration there and things like that across the school this year. But they were thoroughly impressed with our kids and with our teachers. I mean, they were in classrooms. I mean, I was going to bring them to the door, but they walked right on in. The kids are like, hey, welcoming them in there. And that's genuine, guys. But that's not a show. It's nothing put on there. That we think different than we normally do. But I did want to shout that out, that they specifically wanted to speak to the things that give me goosebumps. Didn't want to speak to the things that Clover Park School is doing. And numerous times, one of the auditors said, you need to make sure the teachers are presenting this. Like, you guys need to share this stuff, what you're doing with other schools. And I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in the things that we're doing, it's normal for us, but there are others that are not doing some of the things that we're doing. And that was a compliment to us of trying to get our teacher leaders out there and sharing the ideas and the community things that we're doing in our building. So I always like the positive feedback, along with, room for improvement, of course, but that's an opportunity to shout out our board here and our staff and our kids, and just, kudos for them being who they are. It definitely showed, and especially when we had visitors from DPI on campus, like it's always good to have some highlights there. So did want to share that.
Great, that's good to hear. Thanks, Ms. Reagan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda in open session. At this time, due to General Statute 143-18.11A5, I will need a motion to move into closed session at 7:01 p.m. Do I have a motion? Ms. Russell, second, Ms. Foster, all in favor? Please note the time, 7:01 p.m. We'll be moving into closed session.